microphones at least, or your cameras as well, and just introduce yourselves. Tell us where you're from, what you want to learn here today, and yeah.
Hi.
Cool. I'll switch my camera on quickly. Jade, I'm from South Africa, based here in Amsterdam. I'm the head of marketing at a tech company. And yeah, basically just curious to see and hear about how to make a positive impact and what you have to say. Like, we run a lot of workshops internally around value building and things like that. And I'm curious to hear what you have to say and how we can take that from the inside out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. We're also from South Africa.
Both of you.
So, yeah.
I thought I recognized the accent. Hello.
It's so strange because it was not intentional. But
Where are you based?
I'm in Amsterdam.
As well, yeah?
Rotterdam.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it's nice to be on a call to South Africa.
On Monday, we were with Marley Ritter from FedEx, and she's also South African. So,
okay,
really nice, nice South African vibe. Actually, one of the themes that I've just launched for the initiative is the South African theme. So, in my network, there was a Portuguese person who I collaborated with, and she's created a series of Portuguese events for tomorrow. So yeah, I think it's really nice to localize these events. We are global, but also regions and language and topic and theme based, so that we really get the message spread a little bit further. So it could be interesting to view that if you're interested. Nashmil is from Sweden, and then Shmil, I think for the workshop, oh my goodness, Nadine needs you to talk to you so much. Brain fart. Nadine needs a little bit of engagement, because I think it's quite interactive.
Oh, that would be That would be a little bit difficult since I'm driving. So I'm
okay. Yeah, that's gonna be hard. Yeah, and maybe not so safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta keep safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so keep safe, and then we're gonna just wait a few more minutes because it is interactive, so we do need a few people to join.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's not a problem.
Yeah. And how did you end up in the Netherlands?
Me?
Yeah.
I came about 4 years ago with my partner, and then I started working for a tech company here in Amsterdam, and I've been with them for the last 4 years.
Oh, wow.
But looking more into like so I'm head of marketing there, but I've got like an advertising background, but I'm looking more at like workshop facilitation and like that kind of stuff, particularly around like building out strategies and things like that with like human-centered design and like people first. And that's where the workshop facilitation is something I'm really curious about. I did the Lego Serious Play workshop facilitation, which is amazing, but I'm too intimidated to do it. I haven't done it yet.
So what's intimidating about it? Because it's so open, basically.
It was an intense course. It's so good, like it's super valuable, but it was a really intense course. And I think it's you just, once you learn something, you have to do it for the first time again. Like you have to actually do it for the first time outside of that space.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the scary part. But yeah. And you two, how long have you been here for?
Yeah, I've lived here for 17 years now, so
whoa.
I'm almost Dutch. Not quite, but almost.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I was was more of a UXer before, but I used to run a lot of workshops also as a UXer. And now I do full-time workshop facilitation. And it's actually quite interesting what you said. There's a lot of strategy workshop methods that we won't specifically go in today, but you can use some of them for
that's cool
as well.
That's awesome.
And I'm always open to have a chat afterwards. If
I
you
like that.
go more into it.
Yeah, I'd like that a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So I landed here in 2013. I first moved to Portugal, to a little island, Portuguese island called Madeira. I lived in this tiny little rock in the middle of the ocean for about 3 years. My ex-husband, yeah, his family were essentially Portuguese, but he was also born in South Africa, and he also didn't speak Portuguese. So when we moved to this tiny little island where it's almost entirely Portuguese, it was really a struggle. Yeah, I mean, we did. Yeah, it was also recession time during that time, so we checked out the Netherlands, and it seemed like a pretty good idea. So we moved here in 2013, and I've been here since.
And you're in Amsterdam, you said?
Yeah, Devendrecht. So yeah, my area is sort of weird because it's a little village surrounded by Amsterdam. Amsterdam is built around the village. It used to belong, well, it belongs to a different council, but yeah,
Okay.
Amsterdam just expanded around it. So it's like I'm like closer to the center of Amsterdam than people in the west or south, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When last did you go back to South Africa?
Sure, it's been years. I don't actually go back that much. I've only been back once, and it was a nightmare experience. I got robbed on not the first night. I got robbed pretty soon after landing, and when you don't have money in that place, it's yeah. It was hell. It was yeah. You never want to end in that situation because I also didn't know anybody. Like, I landed in Cape Town, and the family that I do have there, they're all in Pretoria and in Johannesburg. So getting from Cape Town to Gauteng, no money, no phone, no wallet, nothing. Yeah, and then you have to go to those stupid internet cafes. So, and you guys, do you visit there often?
I'm curious about you, Jade.
I went back. When did I go back? I went back 3 months ago. I kind of go back like once a year, mainly to go to the Kruger and see whatever family is still there. But yeah, I was only there for 2-3 weeks now. But yeah, about once a year. It's getting, I say once a year, that's as it stands now, but it's getting like the inclination to go back is getting less and less the more you get used to being away, I think.
Yeah,
COVID was a pretty strange time, so there's that.
Yeah, I also went this year in April.
Oh yeah,
May, yeah, but my mom still lives there and stuff, so you go back to see the family, I guess. So, but hey, I see it's 42, so I think we're gonna just wing this workshop. I'm gonna change it a bit because I think it's not gonna have quite that wow effect if we do this workshop. But I thought maybe I'll tell you what I was going to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then we can also talk through like the statistics about meetings versus workshops, or mostly meetings. And then we can maybe talk about the problems that you have, or the challenges that you have around also strategies and stuff like that. And maybe we can just basically do the talk now about what could help.
Yeah.
Shall we do that?
Yeah,
Hey, just being flexible.
let's do it.
Yes. I'm just going to share my screen because I think that's the easiest. So the idea was to actually show through an exercise why meetings are, or why meetings don't work, basically. So we were going to do an exercise with like a meeting format, and doing an exercise with an actual workshop structure. But that was going to work, I think, if we were with a group of people. But I think I can go straight to the statistics about meetings. And this is especially if in your company, it's sometimes hard to explain why workshops are better than meetings, and not all meetings, because sometimes you just have like a quick check-in meeting, and one-on-one meeting is also could be very useful. But as soon as you have to collaborate with a group, basically you get all kinds of problems faced, and that's why I think it's going to change in the future as well. And I also think that companies that don't change and also just keep on with that meeting culture, they are going to have problems in the future because they can't move as quickly. Their collaboration isn't going really well. Maybe one-on-one, maybe they're lucky. That's the only thing I can think of, but mostly they will have to learn better strategies to work together. I don't know how it is within your company, but I've worked at places that I have meetings for, I think, 20 hours a week. And that was as a UX designer, so you can imagine how ineffective and productive it was.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to pull out my hair because I hated having so many meetings. So, and I think a lot of people have the same idea. This is a research done by a deputy. They did quite a big research on meetings, and for Americans at least. And they said 85% of Americans would rather go to the doctor than a work meeting. Oh. And 25% would rather sit in traffic. 17% would rather attend jury duty. Now, we don't have jury duty in the Netherlands. I don't know if that's in Sweden. Nashmiel, I hope you can still hear us fine. And if you have any questions in between, just shout them out as well.
I hear you, yes. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, so this is more for America, but there's also been some research in the UK, France, and Germany, so a little bit more European research as well. And also there a lot of meetings per year, and this is in general, so this is not even all the office jobs. So if you also take the office jobs, you see that number go up. Also here, lots of people think 56% of these meetings are unproductive. This is according to the poll, of course, that they did with 2,000 people. And also 66% admitted to making an excuse in order to avoid meetings. So I saw a lot of funny excuses coming up there. It was quite, there's this whole, you can actually check this research as well. I put in the source for that reason. I thought it was quite funny, the kind of reasons like, I don't know, my daughter is sick, or my this or my that, but my dog ate my homework. No, not like that, but funny excuses. And I can almost relate. I mean, after if you have so many unproductive meetings, at some point you think, why bother? So this was in Europe. And then there was also one on senior management, and senior management has in general more meetings than like regular staff. I don't know if that's the right word or the correct word to say it, but employees, that was what I would say. So here you can see the numbers again. It's actually insane. Like 71% said meetings are unproductive and ineffective. And also 65% of senior managers said that meetings keep them from completing their work. I think this was about 200 senior managers they asked about this over different companies, and also industries. Thank you. And anyway, and also what I found interesting as well is that 62% said that the meetings missed opportunities to bring the team close together. So they're unproductive, the teamwork goes down, and still we are doing so many meetings and doing it in the same way, and apparently just keeping it in an unstructured way. So I think if you would add up what this costs for a company, I mean, even just the morale goes down, people leave because they get crazy from all the meetings, or people are just bored and don't like it or whatever. So morale, but also like in the financial situation, this is insane. Like how much this costs for a company. So that's a shame. Anyway, so why do we continue doing them? Maybe this is actually quite interesting to ask, because I did obviously prepare to say why, but I think Jade, why do you think we still do meetings? Why do we think we still go through with it?
I think we do meetings because we've always done meetings. So it's kind of just doing what we've always done. I also think in a remote setting, it's one of the easiest and quickest ways to align or make sure you're on the same page. Even if it's like for the smallest thing, you kind of have to set up a meeting in order to have like a conversation that you would have 5 minutes at a desk or something like that. Like I think there's a lot of context that's often needing to be set for very quick conversations in a remote setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I think there's better ways to do it, but I think it's just the concept of meetings is how we've always done it, right? So you kind of just take that behavior and take it into the online space and hope for that same connection as frequently as possible. But yeah, it's not the same. And I think it's especially like people are even more disengaged virtually in a meeting as opposed to a workshop as well.
Yeah, well, they can be, of course. Yeah. Sorry, yes?
There are a couple of people watching online, and I just wanted to invite them to find the link in the chat and join us.
I see someone connecting. Yes.
So there is a link in the chat. Please do join this workshop.
So we're going to continue this way, even though this is a bit of an improvisation. So to go on what you said, Jade, yes, I think it's also a bit like this is the way we've always done it. So we're going to just continue doing it. But it's also with the good intention to collaborate and to make decisions. And I think also to even build team relationships and review projects and products. So the intention behind the meetings are good. I do agree with you that when we went online or when we went remote, the meetings, I saw some statistics about this, well, I love them. They went up the number of meetings, but the length of the meetings went down. So that was quite interesting. So that also, yeah, it's a bit the same as what you said. You had to actually jump on a meeting to quickly chat about something or just quickly check something, but it isn't as long because it's basically just going to stand next to someone's desk and asking the question. Although it does take a lot more time, I think, to jump into a meeting and go out and in and out. Anyway, hi Laura, thanks for joining. Nashmil, do you want to also add to that? Like, why do you think we still do the meetings even though they drive us crazy?
Yeah, I've been working from home since the beginning of COVID. As Jade mentioned, the meetings are the only way we can get access to each other, kind of. Some of them are meeting, some of them are just meeting, I would say. But even the corridor talk has to be a meeting nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't find my meeting that unproductive as I hear people talk about, because I normally limit my time meeting times. And I'm like, I'm available Thursday and Tuesdays from 9 to 4. That's when I take meetings. And if there is an unnecessary meeting, I don't join. If I join and see that there's nothing for me, I leave. Or sometimes even I tell them that I'm available, just ping me if you need me to join in. I join in, answer questions, and I leave. I really try to be very effective with my time. But I understand that people think that meetings are very, very disturbing and it's a waste of time. I understand that.
Yeah, and that's actually the things that you do, those are actually already tips for other people. If you just do regular meetings, it's really good to be strict with your boundaries as well, and also decide when to go into a meeting or when not. And I'm also not trying to say that meetings should be banished. I don't think that is the way to go, because sometimes meetings can be very useful if it's informative, or if you just have to have a chat between two people, even three people. But as soon as you have to collaborate, then meetings are maybe not the best tool. Laura, I just want to quickly check in with you. Hi. Can you just introduce yourself maybe?
Sure. Hi, my name is Laura. I'm a UX designer in Germany, but I'm actually from Ireland originally. That's
Yes.
that's me.
Oh, so welcome.
Thank you.
So I just said at the beginning, this was going to be a more of an interactive workshop, but because the beginning of the workshop, the participants was quite low, we are not going to do that because we won't make it in the time. So we're going to just chat through some of the theories, and I will show you what I was going to do in the workshop as well, so you can use those tools still, even though we are not going to go through them. Hi.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So Robiat, also, I hope I'm saying that right. I hope I don't butcher your name. Robiat, welcome as well.
Hi, thank you so much. Yes, Robiat, that's correct.
Oh yeah. And what do you do?
Sorry, what did you say?
I said, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a product designer.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Can you just turn off your speaker or put on some earphones, because there's a bit of an echo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard it as well. Okay, so we just went through some statistics. Maybe you saw them online. I will also share these as well afterwards, and they are quite interesting, especially if you need to convince people, like maybe we should do something else than only meetings. So I'm also going to go, one more thing about this. I did say as well, meetings, we have meetings with a good intention, I think, but the results are just not as great often, especially with a big group of people. So if we look at workshops versus meetings, so with meetings, these are the problems that we have often, is that the most vocal participants are heard. And this is also something that they did some research on, and this is also something that annoys people. Also, if you're a little bit more extrovert maybe, or are easy to talk in groups, then maybe that person is the person that talks the most, or and then someone else that also has good ideas get skipped or not listened to or whatever. So meetings can also be not as inclusive as we would like them to be. And that is something, that's one of the biggest issues, I think, is people get annoyed as well, or just basically bored because they don't have space to say things as well. Also, another thing, I think this is one of the most important ones, why workshops should be a good idea for you. Our brains were made to remember so much information. If you have a meeting of an hour, even this talk that I'm giving now, you are only going to remember a few things, and maybe you can watch it back or whatever. But our brains aren't made to remember so much. It's just like if people are just talking about ideas, person A says something, person B says something, oh, then person C has an idea, but that idea that person A was talking about was totally different, so we totally forgot about that. By the end of the meeting, we're talking about an entire different subject, and you just forgotten the half of the things. And maybe you remember a few like key things, but some of the ideas just went into the bin. And maybe you write them down, but even if you write them down for yourselves, it might not be aligned with the group. So you see there are quite a bit of problems here as well. And you also have the recency effect or bias and the primacy bias as well, which means, well, the primacy bias is very important, that you often remember the thing that you encounter first. So maybe the first thing you remember, and sometimes the last thing, like the recency effect again. So in that case, you forget maybe the whole middle, for example, and then the problem is that you get more meetings because things have been forgotten, no action is being taken and stuff like that. So this is one of the bigger issues, I would say. We were just not made to remember so much things. We just can't. If you do some of those exercises where you look at like all kinds of pictures, then you can't remember 20 of the pictures that you saw in 5 seconds. You remember 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. And if you remember more than those, you're pretty good. I think if you remember more than 7, you're like for photographic memory, I think, or something like that. But that's it. So there's that. Also, meetings have no structure. That's actually also a bit part of the first one. So people go off topic as well. It's just the way we are. If you chat with someone, you go from the one topic to the other topic to the other topic. And if you don't have structure, that is what is going to happen. So you may have a goal in your meeting, but at the end you may be talking about something else because that's very natural. And sometimes there is someone there that is strict to stay on topic. I've seen that as well. But even then it can be hard and a little bit awkward as well to keep on doing that. So that's that. And then the too many meetings or the double meetings. I don't know if you all have experienced this before, but you have a meeting and then next week you have a meeting about basically the same thing. And then next week you have a meeting about basically the same thing. And then before you know it, you've had 10 meetings of basically the same thing, and then something's going to happen because you basically just chatted about it and discussed a bit about it or whatever, but no action is being taken and no decision has been made. So that's something that we see in meetings often. Okay, so that's my rant about meetings, basically. But then workshops. So workshops solves a lot of these problems. I'm not saying that workshop solves everything, and it's really good to look at the goal of what you want to do, if you're going to do a workshop or not. But a lot of the exercises within workshop, like even if you look at the design sprint, are you familiar with design sprints? Yes. And I think that product designers, UX designers would also be.
Yes, I'm certified.
Oh, yes, see. So even if you take some of the exercises out of the design sprint, you don't have to do an entire design sprint, but you could take some exercises out of it. They could be more useful than just chatting about it. For example, if you are chatting about, if you want to know what the problem is, you may be going to like do like an expert kind of interview, or even like a sailboat exercise, which is where you look at what is holding us back and what is taking us forward, and then you translate them to how might we, and then you already have like a good idea of what your problem is. Only if you only do that just for the problem or the challenge, or maybe even for where you want to innovate to. So you can use exercises that way, I think. And if you want to ideate, for example, if you only want to ideate, the problem is very clear, you've been through this, you've done that, and you only want to ideate, maybe you can go with the lightning decision jam, and then you can follow that up with the, what is it called, the crazy 8s, or 10 for 10, so 10 ideas in 10 minutes, or something like that, 10 ideas in 10 minutes, yes, that's it. So you can use the exercises as well within your which would have been your regular meeting, instead of running the entire design sprint, which takes at least for the main exercise 2 days, and then 1 day prototyping, and then 1 day testing. So you can also use parts of them. And this might be interesting. Maybe you all know it already, but you have the Lightning Decision Jam. It's a free format that AGN Smart. I will send you the link just now in the chat. There's a Lightning Decision Jam. You can also just run that kind of workshop in 1.5 hours, for example. So you see, there's a lot of ways to use workshops that don't take as long as a design sprint, but also have the benefits of workshopping versus meeting. Anyway, to get back to my own point. So in a workshop, everything is visualized. So it looks so fun with all the sticky notes on the wall, or maybe on the Miro board or whatever you're using. But that's there for a reason. It's not for the fun part of it or anything. It's literally there to visualize everything that everyone is thinking and saying, basically. So what I just said here at the meeting, I need to click here, about only some points or ideas are remembered, you are basically visualizing everything and documenting all the thoughts and ideas of people. And that's why workshops are great, basically. Then the structure, I don't think I have to go into that too much, because I think you have workshop backgrounds as well. So that's, you're basically very strict on time. They are the exercises that you follow quite strictly, except if things change, then obviously you must be flexible. But there is just more structure, and that meetings don't have in general. And it always ends with a decision. There is always an outcome to a workshop. If you do not end with an outcome, then your workshop design is not great. I would really think about that if that happens, because there should always be a decision at the end, always. So, so I hope that's clear. Anyway, what I was going to do now, so you saw the Q&A, because now we're going to go into Miro, but I'm just going to share that with you. I think if I just take this up here, can I do that? Is that wanting to? Yeah. Just 1 second. Okay. Yeah. Share. So what I wanted to do with you, maybe I can do it now as well. That would actually be quite fun, to be honest. Can the rest of the people, except Nashmil that's in the car, so please be safe, the rest of the people put on your cameras and your mics?
Yes.
Are you still around?
For those on LinkedIn, the viewers on LinkedIn, please join us. The link is in the description.
Yeah. So Robert, if you can't put on your camera, could you put on your mic for us? And join us in this little exercise. Okay, we are gonna just start with 2 of you. So what I want you to do now is imagine that we all meet in Amsterdam tomorrow, for the people that don't live in Amsterdam, because apparently there are quite a few here. And we have 1 day to really do good in the city, but each of us has €100 maximum. I want you to come up with a great idea. Go. You can talk out loud, just shout them out, popcorn style, work together.
What are we doing for a day?
Doing good in the city of Amsterdam. You have €100 to do it. Go.
Do we have €100 each or in total?
Each.
Okay. And there's 2 of us, or is it 4 of us?
Well, it's 4 of you, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Is it just general good? Specific good?
So that's the
Good.
thing, right? We'd have to agree what good means. If we're working as a team, we would need to agree on what good means
Mhm.
before we split up and do the things.
So
Yeah.
maybe
Are we working as a team? Sorry.
If you want to work as a team.
Do we want to work as a team?
I think so. Oh,
Okay,
reduce the load.
Yeah.
nice. Got it. Cool. Okay, so we're a team.
So what are you gonna do?
I think we should define what good means, which would then mean we would have to write down everything that we think would be considered good or what we would want to work on. So maybe environmental impacts
Oh,
could be
you know
one.
what? You know what Amsterdam really needs with all of its tourists? It needs people to inform tourists about the bike lanes.
Yeah, but I get, so that would come down to actually coming up with the problem statement that we want to solve, right?
Yeah. So yeah, like when people step off the train, bus, or plane, how can we immediately let them know that if they want to survive Amsterdam, that their little red roads are not sidewalks, but they're bike lanes?
Is there not signage for this? I don't live in Amsterdam.
There's not, but there should be more.
Well, the majority of the physical accidents I've had here involved tourists and myself as well when I was a tourist. That you just walk in because there's a pathway next to the cars, and usually that's a sidewalk, and then all of a sudden you find out it's a bike lane, and many tourists get hurt. They are very
Yeah.
annoying. It's sort of
So-
annoying for people who live here.
Mm.
So would we agree then that the problem we're trying to solve is people get hurt in the bike
Yeah.
lane because they don't know it. So people don't know it's a bike lane. So
Yeah.
what are we going to do with our money?
Well, print stuff, I don't know, create marketing campaigns, so any awareness initiatives.
Mm. Yeah, I think an ad campaign would make sense for this. So have
mean, you guys
posters in the
are-
airport or in train stations where tourists are entering. Because I know in where I'm from in Ireland, we drive on the other side of the road than Europe. So there's a lot of signs around airports telling people to remember which side to drive on, because people will be, I don't know, Germans and driving on the wrong side of the road. So this could be a thing, but I don't know if like a ad campaign for like a traditional ad campaign would make sense since they're tourism. Maybe like a sticker campaign. I feel like stickers are a big thing in Amsterdam. Like having stickers in bathrooms and in toilets and like coffee shops and everything with like
But
a
I think
slogan.
by the time that the issue that I had with the signage is that when you come to a new city, you're so taken in by the scenery and the people and the buildings that you often overlook the signs. I think that's one of the main factors here, because there are, in hindsight, you can see some signs. So yeah.
So maybe the solve is something like a sound. So like if you step onto it, there's a beeping sound or an alarm. But I would find this quite an irritating thing. But I don't know, it could be a solution as something like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
They have bike lanes here. It's the first in the world where it actually generates electricity. So as people ride on it, there's a few really innovative things going on with bicycle roads.
Robert also had a comment in the chat. Just want to check that out as well.
Yeah, I mean, if they go with a tour guide, I guess they'd have that kind of access. But I think what's interesting is like if you had to look at, I think that approach is right, as in like what would every tourist experience potentially, kind of thing. So like, I mean, the budget, we wouldn't have the budget for this because we have 400 euros, but like what, like on your phone, like when you get into a new country, you'll get a message say welcome to whatever. It, like if we find a thing where it's something that most tourists would experience, we can almost guarantee that their message reaches them without them having to go to a tour guide or something like that. But that approach, I think, is pretty smart.
Perhaps one of you have a better idea of doing something good in Amsterdam.
No, I think we should just stick with this concept and then try and solve it. So with the 400 euros, I think, I don't know how much you pay to have a notification sent to people's phones when they arrive. But I also know if I entered Amsterdam and then I see this notification, it'd be a good reminder, but still when I cross the road, I probably would forget. So I think it's more like having some signals. So I don't know if it's like having I don't know, a rough terrain. I mean, this is more of a long-term solution, but like having a bumpier terrain on the bike lanes than on the normal roads, so you could feel the difference. This could be a solution, or it could be like the sticker campaign where like you have stickers on lamps and posts, and it's just always there, that maybe the repeated reminder would kind of enter people's cognitive brains then to remember, oh yeah, I need to check before I cross this area.
Okay, I'm gonna
like
break
your
it now.
sticker idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna break it now. I'm gonna relieve you from this pain. No, you're actually doing really well. But I've just to check in. How many of you thought, what kind of facilitator is this? What kind of question is this at the beginning?
Well, there wasn't a lot of detail.
Yeah. And how many meetings do you go into where you don't really know what the goal is of the meeting? Is that similar? Like, what are we doing? Like, oh, but now you've thought of the idea, which is pretty cool, and you've started working together, which I thought was pretty cool. But still, it was like, maybe I wanted you to, I don't know, clean up the trash in Amsterdam or whatever. I just said, do good, go.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really a goal there. And that's also what I wanted to indicate. Also, no structure. You had to basically create your own structure now. Yeah. And I wonder if is it similar to any of the meetings that you guys have? Ladies have, sorry. Or you sorry, I'm
you
people works.
You people. I'm sorry.
You people.
Yeah.
So that is what a lot of people recognize as well. And that was I wanted to do this exercise at the beginning as well. So I know this a bit later in the workshop. But so for some people it could even be, now we are with 4 people and me, so 5 people. You would also often see if it's 7 people, like 2 people zone out or something like that. So the chances are pretty good that they are not going to participate. But the pressure was a bit on you, so you had to. Anyway, so what I would do in this case, normally as a facilitator, I would talk to the person that wants to solve a problem first. So this person that wants to do good in Amsterdam, but what do you actually want to do? What would you like to see? So I would really go and talk to the person, like the project responsible or product responsible or process responsible, whatever. Like, what do you actually want to see? What is your goal at the end of the day? Like, what do you want to solve? And in this case, you guys, you thought of the problem, basically the challenge, which is quite cool challenge, by the way. I didn't think of that myself. And probably a big problem as well. And then only then you can actually go and, okay, what is the problem? Write down the problem statement. Then you can go and you can translate them to how might we's. And that's what I wanted to do with you. I'll show you just now. And what you'll see is that I just grabbed a few of like design sprint kind of exercises. Let me just share that with you before I keep on talking. So first of all, to relieve you, I would actually have a problem statement. I wanted you to vote on which one you would like to work on. But then you would go from problem statement to, okay, so how might we, for example, in your case, how might we help, what do you call it? Was it tourists?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's walking over the bike roads, right? Like by accident.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically anybody who's new to Amsterdam, who arrives here at Centraal and then has to walk down to the Pape, or you know that when you first arrive in Amsterdam, you always see accidents. You're always like, there's always some tourist or somebody new who's being knocked by a bicycle somewhere. See people lying over here, see people lying over there.
Yeah. So it would be like, how might we make sure that these people don't get killed by bikes? No, I'm joking. But you get my point. We would really translate them to how might we break it right open. Like, because what happens if you go from problem to solution often is that you already like thinking in like maybe one solution, maybe two solutions, maybe three, but how might we breaks it open entirely? So I would encourage you to often use them in your work, in your personal life, in even if you are designing a strategy sprint or a strategy workshop, how might we's are a great start, I would say. And then what if you want to do like a very quick workshop, I would go from how might we to voting, obviously, for the how might we's that you think that would solve the problem, like what would have the most impact to solve the problem. If you want, you can even plot it on like an impact, but you probably should do that with your ideas. So I'm going to save that one for later. So you vote on them and then you know what you're going to work on. Afterwards, you can, which would be good, and this is also a lightning demo exercise. Sorry, a design sprint exercise, and that's the lightning demos. And if you do this with your team, this is usually very inspirational. So what you do is, if you don't know what it is, maybe you all know what it is, but if you don't, you go and look for ideas that how other companies or organizations solve that problem. And it can be even like in a different industry. It can even be, hey, now I can say industry, apparently. It can even be in like a total different project or product, but like the solution would also solve this product, or you could, or problem, and you could match it on that. So lightning demos are very good to get into from the like, how might we, from the question towards the ideas part. And this is even maybe, I'm just thinking, Jade, on the strategy wise, this could also work there, but the only thing is that strategies are often not shared as much, I think, company strategies or marketing strategies, but maybe you can distill it from what you see that what companies do. Like you can still see, okay, this is probably the strategy that they have done, because this is what we see. So that would work in the strategy workshops as well. Then we have the 10 for 10 exercise. This one makes everyone a little bit uncomfortable. It's not the same as the crazy eights, but it's very similar. Except the crazy eights is usually something that you draw. So that's if you are really into like products or like software product or regular product, if you're really drawing like an application or a web application, doesn't matter. But 10 for 10 is also very useful for like intangible things, like just ideas in general. So what you would do is within 5 minutes, everyone of the group generates 15 ideas. So that sounds weird because 10 for 10, but you'll hear it just now. So 15 ideas, and it's if you are facilitating a workshop like this, I would encourage you to encourage others to really get out 15 ideas, because it's quantity above quality. So if what you notice is as the more people write down ideas, the better they come or get, or even some of their ideas that they already had, they make them better, or they get new ideas from their old ideas. So you'll see that this really pushes people to get that like creative juices flowing kind of thing. I hear that a lot and I always think I'm not going to use it, but here we go, creative juices flowing. So after that, after the 5 minutes, everyone gets 10 voting dots or 10 votes. If you're on Miro, you can also do voting here at the top, for example, just in case you ever do it online. So you could do like, okay, 10 votes and you get 2 minutes to do it, for example. So then everyone gets those. We still not, there's no discussion. We are literally just going to read what we see, all the ideas, and you're going to vote on them. And you can vote on your own ideas, even. You can vote 5 dots on one idea, for example. It doesn't matter. It's just vote whatever you think is awesome, is going to solve this problem. It doesn't really matter that the idea isn't really in detail yet, because that is you have a chance to do that later. Now you're just going to see, okay, but this is a good idea to start with. We would have to work it out, like we have to go into detail still, but it's a start. So when you've done that, you take the top 10 ideas. So that's the 10. So in the whole time you had 10 minutes actually in total, and then the top ideas you put on your board here, for example. You'll see if you go through this process, I know it looks super simple, but the ideas will be really good in a very short time frame as well. So first of all, you had like a super mini structured workshop basically that I wanted to run through with you. So sorry that you didn't have that experience now, but maybe in the future we can do another workshop as well. But and maybe even a specific problem that is that someone has. But in a small amount of time, I use some exercises and you get to pretty good ideas at the end. I must say though, your ideas were already going quite well, but you'll also see at some point that will stagnate in a regular meeting. So that at some point it gets difficult to, okay, how are we going to get that into like actions or whatever. What you can do after this, I'm going to go just a little bit deeper than I was planning to. What you can do after this is you can plot this on an impact versus effort matrix. I'm just going to quickly open my Monday presentation where
there was a question from the audience.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't see it.
Do you have a recommendation for how many HMWs?
No, actually not. So in the how might be's, you can, it depends on the exercise. If you do a lightning decision jam, which I said I was going to send the link in the chat just now at the end. If you do a lightning decision jam, you are a little bit more focused on the problems and then translating them to how might we's together, or maybe like the facilitator translates, it depends. If you are running a design sprint, the how might we's are unlimited. So that's also there, it's quantity above quality. It's also so that you get to the heart of the problem as well, often. So often you write a few and then you think, okay, yeah, no, I think it's actually this. No, I think it's actually this. And you keep on writing. And also with the how might we's, encourage people to always create many of them. and you will see that some of them are going to be the same. I mean, I've had times that I wrote the same how might we in different words, whatever, just stick them on each other. When you sort them, it's fine. When you can also sort afterwards, you usually in a design sprint, you also sort them like into categories. In a lightning decision jam, you don't do that because you don't have as much time. So there is a limit. You would try, I think, like 3 maybe how might we's in total. I'm just going to quickly show you. Yeah.
I've also just published the link to your profile page, Nadine,
Oh, cool.
in the comments on here on the Zoom call and also on LinkedIn. So we will publish all of the links and all of the references or referenced material Nadine has also on her page. I think there's already, you can already find a little bit more information on her page.
Yeah, I didn't put the lightning decision jam one there, but I will
No, we didn't.
add it. Maybe I'll add it to the. Can you add it to the page, Candice? Is that possible?
Yes,
Okay.
I can add. I'm busy working on a resource page specifically. So all of the resources that we come up with during the awareness initiative, we'll add to that page, but also to each of the event pages. We'll add the event recording and all of the resources, and also to the speakers' personal pages. That way, people can always find that material. And just continue to grow.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I also added the link now to the chat as well. You can download the whole thing on this page, the step-by-step guide and everything. So it's just a free resource. It's fantastic. I use lightning decision jams all the time. And I often just move around with them a bit. I use a bit of the design sprint in them, and they are a bit of the design sprint already. And sometimes I add a different brainstorming exercise or brainwriting exercise, to be honest. So you can really mix and match them as well, as long as there's a decision at the end and as long as there's structure. So there are those things. Just to get back to the ideas, what you can do afterwards is this impact effort matrix or model or whatever you want to call it. Herein you can plot your ideas that you got, the 10 ideas that you and your team thought of and that were voted the top 10. You can plot them on the impact effort. If they are here in this yellow thing, you'll see this, by the way, also in the lightning decision jam. This is where it's from. If they fit into this yellow part, so that they are high impact and low effort, that's usually like your prioritizing of, okay, these are the first things we're going to do. They're high impact, low effort. We can basically start tomorrow. It's a figure of speech, but still basically tomorrow or maybe even next week or something like that. So the effort is very low. You can also, sometimes they get on the impact, like impact, high effort, high impact part. Then they go on your backlog or whatever. So you plan them in because the impact is still high, but the effort is also high. So it's going to take time, money, resources, whatever. Everything underneath this line, you can check basically. So if something is, oh, sorry, I'm the other way around. I'm so sorry. This part, wait, I'm confusing myself as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking of the design of this, and I think, yeah.
No, it is correct. So if it's low impact and low effort, or low impact and high effort, so it's correct. I was actually on the right. I was going well, but then I confused myself in the meantime. But if it's on the bottom, it can go because the impact is low. Even if the effort is also low, you would wonder maybe you don't want to do it, or it could be maybe like a nice to have, that's possible. But as soon as the impact is low and the effort is high, then usually that's just goes in the bin. So this is a way to do that. And what you would do afterwards is you would take those ideas that are in that yellow block and you would create actions immediately. Like basically, what can you start to do tomorrow? So you plot your ideas and then underneath them, you make at least like 3 actions per idea so that you, so in this case, it just makes sure that you start, basically. And you're not just having a meeting and chatting about stuff, or even having a workshop and not doing anything afterwards is just as bad. So, oh yeah, bye, Laura. Thank you for yes. So there's so that's also very important to do, I think, as well. Anyway, I'm gonna stop here. I would like to chat to you, Jade, if you want to. If you have any questions about the challenges that you are working with at the moment as well, just keep in mind that we are recording, so just in case you don't want to share.
Stop the stream.